Equal parenting is a myth. From a very young age, even before the kids are born, we actually parent babies in a very different way. Mothers, when they know about the sex of the babies, they actually talk to their baby in their womb with a different voice and different tone and use different words. We have different ways. For example, there's this study from Françoise Héritier which says that we evaluate the skills and the abilities of our kids differently. If we put a slope with a special steepness and we ask mothers to evaluate the capacity of crawling of their baby up that slope, they would instinctively put the slope down if it's a girl. So we have these preconceived ideas that girls are not as strong as boys. This also impacts the way we actually treat and interpret when a baby cries. When a baby cries and it's a boy, we think it's out of anger. And when a baby cries and it's a girl, we think it's out of fear. So we have a very different way of interpreting what happens with our kids. Caregivers have a different impact on them altogether. They tend to listen more and give more attention to male kids and male students in the classroom, and they tend to interrupt girls much more. They tend, teachers at school tend to talk with different words, calling honey, sweetie to girls and use you guys for the general audience. So we do have a different way of parenting our boys and girls. By the clothes we use, for example, we buy clothes for boys which are meant for movement, Boys can move, can run, can have fun, when the clothes that we use for girls are actually portrayed to be neat, to be clean, to be pretty and with laces, and they limit and restrain the movement of girls. In the social activities that we foster, we do the same. Girls are socialized to do activities that don't require too much movement, to not mess up with their hair or their clothes. So they're supposed to have activities which are more individual, which are more quiet, and which are more based usually on storytelling, dressing up, and emotional skills. When we foster and we really encourage in boys any activity that has to do with space, using the space, has to do with using the body, running around, being really sporty, and anything that has to do with spatial and analytical skills, that's what we want to develop. So at the end of the day, what we have through the toys that we use, for example, we have different toys, the pink and the blue ale, right? The myth that has been created because 50 years ago, the toys were quite similar. But suddenly some marketing people figured out that if you could not pass the toy that you offered your boy to your girl, it would be a way to make much more money. So now we have very separate pink and blue ale. And from this, we have a way of luring girls into toys which actually do not develop their spatial and physical ability. So we have all this, which is also in the storytelling, the movies we watch. All the Disney movies have been portraying very smart, rich, seductive men and active who actually come and conquer a very passive and beautiful woman who is actually waiting for something to happen. And this is because all the media in the US is actually run by 6 major companies, Disney being one of them, and run mostly by male, white male with a certain image of how to train our children. The books are very similar. Different studies on the books show that male are more protagonists, the title are more about male kids, and girls are mostly left out of the plot. When they portray women, usually they're non-working moms, and if they are working, they don't have kids, or they do very stereotypical moms activities. So again, the vocabulary that is used is scared, beautiful, pretty about girls, and brave, courageous, and very ambitious for boys. So the literature is also, even in the books for schools, conveying a special message. So we have this whole set of conditioning that works from 2 to 7. Kids develop their gender identity between that age, And during that age, they also see what is happening at home. They also see that the household chores are distributed quite unequally. In France, for example, women work 1.5 hours more than men on household chores every day. Around the world, UNICEF did a study saying that 160 million hours were worked more by girls all around the world on household chores. So just imagine the time that you don't have to actually study or to play with your friends or to develop another skill. And also the aspiration that you think you might have. So all this is actually conditioning girls and boys to a different set of aspirations. We're teaching our boys to be confident, to be assertive, to be playing around, to use the space, to actually be out there, outspoken, to speak up. And we teach our girls to conform, to be quiet, to be obedient, to not move too much, to not be too messy, and to not take too much risk. So at the end of the day, what happens is that 70% of our girls are not happy with their bodies. 70% of young girls are already thinking that they have to do something about their body because it's not good enough, which has massive impact in terms of anorexia, bulimia, and self-esteem, obviously. And then in terms of career aspirations, we have very different aspirations from boys and from girls who, from the age of 4, actually think that they are less smart than boys. They don't aspire to the same career. They don't want to apply to the same jobs. So what we're actually doing right now is that we're shrinking the horizon of our boys and our girls as parents. Even if we have the illusion to be gender neutral or to do equal parenting, we're actually conditioning, socializing them, consciously or unconsciously, to a narrow horizon for girls and for boys. So what could we do about this? As Gloria Steinem says, what we need to do is more to, we don't have to learn, we actually have to unlearn what we've learned. And the idea is to work on different fields. First, we have to diversify the toys that we give to our children. No? We have to give dolls to boys, and we have to develop this caregiving, this empathetic side of them so that they can be dad as well one day. And we have to leave aside our entrenched misogyny and homophobia that is actually preventing us from having kids going from the pink ale to the blue ale at the moment. So let's diversify the toys that we use so that our girls learn more spatial skills and our boys learn more about empathy and storytelling. Let's be also active parents, right? If there's a brand that you don't like because of the way they portray kids, or if there's a movie or a cartoon that you don't feel comfortable about, be vocal about it. Use social media, interact with that brand or with that company. And you can also set campaigns like Let Toys Be Toys or different parents campaigning on the impact of different brands. And then be a mindful parent. And I know it's not easy all the time, but be a mindful parent in the words that you use, no? Of the boys will be boys and girls don't do this and girls don't do that. So be more mindful about the words you use, more mindful about the books that you read, you buy, and you tell to your children. Tell your boys about girls' stories and about girls' heroes so that they can empathize with them as well. Try to challenge also the clothes, the movies, develop media literacy in them so that you ensure that your boys and your girls have the same opportunity and can dream of an equal future.